right, we're ready to go.
This is Roadmap to Retirement. Tune in for financial tips, investment strategies, and smart money moves to supercharge your retirement savings. Alex Neri, CFP, and guests are here to help you build your roadmap to retirement.
Welcome to the Roadmap to Retirement podcast. I'm joined by Bill Gates today. Bill, how often do you get mistaken for Bill Gates?
I get it all the time. It's okay because I'm in the business of people remembering my name to a certain degree. So Gates. I like to joke that I missed it by one letter and a few bucks.
Yeah, one letter and a few. That's pretty good. I like that. Good intro, but I'm excited to have you here today and to give our audience a little bit of a kind of who you are. Then I'll let you do your own version. But I've known your name for a long time. When I was a new person in this industry, I think I actually went through some version of your coaching program about getting referrals and building an advisory business. And then I didn't hear your name for a while, and then he popped up back in my calendar. We were able to reconnect, and now I'm happy to have you on the podcast. But that's a poor man's version of me describing what you do. So I know you've got a long history in the financial advisor industry. So why don't you fill the people in?
A couple quick things. Really, for 30 years, I've been helping financial advisors fulfill part of my mission. And let me give you the mission first, and you'll see how it makes sense. I believe that everybody deserves to make educated financial decisions that are in their best interest. And so one of the ways I fulfill that mission is by helping financial advisors, good, ethical, caring folks, reach more people with their value and help them make educated decisions. And quite often, people need that outside influence, right? They wouldn't make that decision without the advisor stepping in and helping them think it through and get rid of the confusion and all that. For over 30 years, I've been doing that and continue to do that. Written a few books, and I will mention a couple today. And now I'm taking that mission a little more direct to individuals around limiting beliefs, mistaken assumptions, unhelpful emotions that people make around money. We all, because we're human, have broken money stories. There's not anybody really immune from this, and we can get into that a little bit, but that's really on my awareness right now is how do I help as many people I can make these better decisions around money? Because we all deserve financial dignity, financial stability, and we all can create lasting wealth. There is plenty for everyone if we take the right steps.
Yeah, that's a great mission. I think you can take your mission and your objective, and you can look at it from the advisor standpoint, which is what, I'm inclined to do as an advisor. And I can say, okay, Bill Gates can help me build my business. It can help me generate my income. So it can be very selfish, but I think you can also flip it around. It's worth saying that you're also helping the client get in touch with the right advisor that can help them reach their goals. And that's really what it's all about. I think a lot of times when you're writing and speaking to financial advisors, it can sound a little selfish in center, like it's helping the advisor, but really what we're here to do and what my mission is, or your mission is, to help more people make good decisions around their money, and meeting the right advisor is a huge part of that. So you probably don't have a stat on this, but I wonder how many people you've helped out indirectly in that way.
Oh, Lord, I don't have a stat. It's been thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands if I consider some of the large audiences I've spoken to. And I've gone from anywhere from speaking at events where I touch them a little bit with some ideas to seminars and training sessions and workshops and my online video programs and coaching. So it's been layers of how I've helped people over the years, but yeah, literally thousands for sure.
Yeah. It's an area where I think that a lot of people, it's not always that they don't know how to ask. We can talk more about that. And you've got some great language tips on how to do that. But it's that a lot of advisors probably just are not asking, or they're not planting that seed that you spent so much time talking about. And I think that at a bare minimum, if advisors would just plant the seed in their client's brain that they are taking clients, they can do it in a really passive way, just saying, don't keep me a secret, which I know is a line that you've used a few times, or if you need me to be a sounding board, I'm here to help your clients. I'm here to help the people that you care about. Then you can take it to the next level, which is a lot of the language that you built around like how to present it, how to do things like the email introduction. And I recognize I'm rambling a little bit now, but there's so much direction that you and I can take this conversation right now. But what's the most important thing? Where should we go?
Let's start with a kind of an overarching principle real quick. And that's this. If we have a complaint in our life, if we have something, whoever's listening, whether you're an advisor, whether you're a client of Alex's, whatever, if we have a situation in our life that isn't working, there's a complaint. Quite often we'll go to what strategy do we put in place, or what tactic do we follow? While that's okay, and we need to do that at some point, sometimes we need to take a step back and look at what do we believe about the situation? What do we believe about ourselves, about finances, about investing, about the other person we have a complaint with, whatever it may be. And that's what I'm doing a lot. And that's what I'm doing with my newest book, The Hidden Heist, is looking at the beliefs. And so with advisors and referrals, that's what I'll call the referral mindset. In my book, The Language of Referrals, you alluded to, the first part is the inner language. What are we telling ourselves about what's possible and what we should pay attention to? And so when we have limiting beliefs or mistaken beliefs, then we don't see options. We don't see strategies and tactics that could be in front of us, but we can't use them because we don't see them. So it all starts with a mindset. So having a mindset, referral mindset, a better money story, these are the things I'm engaging with these days. So yeah, take it to where you want to go next. We can talk referrals, we can talk hidden heists, we can talk whatever you want.
Yeah. You reminded me as you're talking about, so having that belief in the value that you offer your clients makes it easier to bring it up and ask to help other people.
Yeah,
And I
yes.
think about my own journey throughout this career. So I'm 33 years old now. I started out of college at 20. So kind of the math on that. But early on in my career, probably around the time when I was reading some of your material and being introduced to your program, you're starting out and you're just naturally desperate for business and you
Yeah.
smell desperate. And that means that even when you ask for a referral in the best way possible, sometimes it just, you're not met with a welcomed, yes, let me introduce you to my friends. And I've gone through these ebbs and flows in my career where I was either asking every meeting for referrals and trying to do it the right way, or admittedly, I would just stop asking, which I'm not proud to say, but I would stop bringing it up or stop planting the seed. And now I'm at a point in my career where I'm whatever, 10 and 11 years into my career. I've got clients that I've been working with for a decade or close to a decade. They've seen the value I deliver. When I sit in front of them now, I'm much more confident than I was 10 years ago because I know I've
Sure.
helped them tremendously in their own career. I know that some of them are retired today in part because of the work that I did. So when I bring up the idea of referrals, I think it comes with a heightened sense of confidence. And now I'm at a point in my career where I don't feel like I ask, I bring it up a lot, but referrals just come to me.
Right.
People are willingly offering up the referral. I'm getting emails and phone calls from friends and family of my own clients that are saying, Bill said you've been helping with this. And it's like a natural thing. And I think part of it's just this critical mass of having enough clients where things just happen.
Yeah.
And again, I tend to go on these rants that don't really have an end to it. But the point is that I think having that mindset of understanding the value that you bring to the client can do a lot in terms of just making this kind of natural gravity where things happen and clients come to you.
Yeah. So a few things to speak to there. First of all, the belief that your value is worth sharing. And when you first get started in this business, you intellectually get it. You see what you can do for folks and your new clients, they appreciate it. So you're getting some evidence, but it takes a little time to get it into your heart and to your gut. And the folks that do the best with creating referrals and introductions truly are the ones who really do believe their value is worth sharing. And what's one piece of evidence of that? Some people are referring you, introducing you to others, right? The unsolicited that you get, that counts. That's evidence. It's not always enough for some advisors. It's not always the right folks. You got to make sure the match is right. So, one of the principles here is you've got to be referable. And that's actually part two in the language of referrals is the language of being more referable. How do we know we're referable? Value delivered, value recognized. Now, which is the most important of those two? Value recognized, certainly, if you're going to get people to talk to others about you. And so we got to start paying attention to a couple of things. One is value recognizing statements. Pay attention to when clients say thank you. When they say, hey, I always feel better after we talk, or thanks for explaining how that works. Or they give you a hug. I used to joke, they write a check and the check clears. That's an expression of value recognized. And then what do you do with that? Can you leverage that in some way? And you use one of the phrases that the title of one of my books, and I've been popularizing in the industry. Don't keep me a secret. Don't keep the important work we do a secret. The bottom line to promoting and encouraging is to let your clients know, and all your clients should know, that you're never too busy to see if you can be a resource for other people they care about. I use the words to see because it's important the match is right. You might work with them, you might not, but you should know each other. So that's one way. The other way to know if value is recognized is something that's probably the most important thing I've been teaching forever, and that I call the value discussion, where we're actually checking in with prospects and clients with open-ended questions to get them to talk through what value are they seeing in the meeting or the process. or the plan or whatever the context is. And we know that when people speak it out, they get more clear. So it solidifies in their brain. It helps them figure out what they might say to someone else. You see how what you do lands on them. You're feeling more confident. And it becomes this cycle that just gets better and stronger and better and stronger. But we don't assume value's been delivered and recognized. We always check in with the value discussion. And then from there, are we appropriately proactive? We can promote, like I mentioned, or we can ask. Here, let me give you the mistake that most people make around it. And it's, look, this is better than nothing. It just is it's a weaker way. And everyone listening, every advisor at least, and even clients who maybe have been asked in this way can relate. And that is, can you think of anyone else who should know about the work I do? Or who else should be aware of the work I do? Again, better than nothing. You're on a mission. You know your values we're sharing. You want your clients to know that. That's okay. Occasionally lightning strikes, and they do have someone in mind or thought of someone when you said that, but it usually doesn't go anywhere. It usually fizzles, and then the advisor goes, that didn't work, or I don't know, what am I doing wrong? So the bullseye in asking, real quick, and this is part 4 of the language of referrals, is coming prepared with specific people or categories so you narrow the focus. When you say, can you think of anyone? You say, well, they must think of somebody, or you throw open the whole universe, but actually that's counterproductive because you want them to picture someone in their mind's eye. When they picture someone, when you narrow the focus to specific people they know or categories of folks going through similar life events, then they picture people, and that's more likely to enter into conversation. So we become referable. We're appropriately proactive. When people come to me for coaching, Alex, advisors come to me, I usually get what I call the 3 Disney characters of asking for referrals. They don't want to look like sleazy, cheesy, and creepy. Right.
That's good advice.
And I don't think that, and I don't want them to look like that either. And the good news is there's a happy medium and there's a way to do it. So that's the essence around being appropriately proactive to bring your great value to other people.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense. I have a habit of, I have in my calendar, I have every client anniversary. So when they started working with me or when they chose to have me as their financial advisor.
Yeah.
And that makes it, I won't say I do it on an annual basis necessarily. It makes it really easy for me if I'm meeting with somebody in August and I see that they started working with me in August of 2020. So I know, hey, this is our 5-year anniversary. It's a big deal, a big milestone. So I can casually bring up to the client like, hey, it's been 5 years since we started working together. Can you believe it? It's been that long. And I'll usually get a response. Oh yeah, time flies. And it gives me an opportunity to say, hey, just very candidly, I'm curious, like, how is this going from your perspective? Are you happy with what we're doing? Is there something we can be doing differently from a communication standpoint? It gives them hopefully a chance to answer in a very honest way without feeling like they're being rude or complaining, but to just let me know if there is an issue we can fix. And 9 times out of 10, there's not. They say all positive things.
Right.
And if they're talking positively about me, guess what? That gives me an opening to go in and see who they might know or might be willing to introduce. So I think that, to your point, like soliciting feedback is a powerful way to just start the conversation rather than going from Mr. and Mrs. Klein, here's your financial plan, here's your rate of return. By the way, do you know anybody? It doesn't really flow naturally in the conversation. I think that's what a lot of younger or newer advisors struggle with is like, when do I ask? And I think your advice there is great.
Yep. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know you wanted to, I know you want to talk about a couple of your books, and for our listeners, Bill was kind enough to send me 3 of his books. I'll hold them up on the screen for those of you watching.
Thank you.
Bill, admittedly, I got through 2 of the books before our call today, and I found out before we started recording that the one you really wanted to talk about is number 3 here, which I didn't get to read yet. So I will read it.
Well, that's all right.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So The Hidden Heist, and it's got the subtitle is Stop Robbing Yourself of Lasting Wealth. And the subtitle is An Irresistible Tale of Financial Redemption. So in my mission to help people with better money stories and make better money decisions. And by the way, the book does make a very strong case for finding the right advisor for you. So I do believe in hiring counsel, advice. Really, everyone should be working with the right person for them. So it's not trying to usurp what advisors do, but it's really in a story form. So it's a parable book. It brings up some of the mistaken assumptions, limiting beliefs, unhelpful emotions, and then some basic principles of proper financial stewardship, but in a story form. So if I can tell you real quick, it's The Hidden Heist. All right. What is The Hidden Heist? The Hidden Heist, besides the title of the book, are these beliefs, mistaken assumptions that rob our future self. And it takes place in a bank robbery. And so there's a little tension, a little suspense. The bank robbers are also bumbly, so there's some humor. And while the bank robbers are trying to figure out how to get out of this predicament they didn't expect to be in, negotiating with SWAT and whatnot, most of the folks are in the vault talking about money. And why are they robbing the bank? And this is a victimless crime. As well, they're just trying to get their sum, and money is a zero-sum game. And rich people are greedy, and poor people are lazy, and all the various things that stereotypes and whatnot. And enter the hero in the story, Alden Beckett. I don't want to give too much away about Alden because there's kind of a neat story the way it evolved. But essentially, he is a financial advisor, and he starts to manage the conversation a little bit. And so through the story, we teach some of these things. And now I'm the straightforward guy. So the basic concept was mine. And then I got the co-author Jeff C. West involved, and he's the storyteller. He's the bringing these characters to life person. And so each one of the main characters brings a belief or an assumption or an emotion into the story. That's how they get delivered in the story. There's lots of little twists and turns. There's an ending that people don't expect. But then I wanted to make sure that people actually got the lessons. And so in the appendices, it's all the teachings straightforward. Here they are. In case you missed them in the story, they're right here. So it's a nice blend. Bob Burg, who's author of the Go Giver series, called it a Netflix thriller that meets the only money guide you'll ever need. So it's a combo of that. And I'm excited about the book. I'm also, real quick, excited about the audio version of The Hidden Heist because we hired a real book actor, someone who brings the Simon & Schuster and Random House audio books to life, because this had characters in it. My other books, The Language of Referrals and Radical Relevance that you held up, I read those, the straightforward Bill Cates speaker reading. But this one, we wanted to bring the characters to life. So I'm actually very excited about the Audible version of the book. So yeah, it's for advisors, it's a great gift to give to your clients or for your clients to give to their children, grandchildren. I like to say that it's the money lessons that you never learned, your parents didn't teach you, couldn't teach you because they didn't know, or you weren't listening in the first place.
There's a lot of that. We'll get back to your book in a second, but you mentioned that you weren't listening in the first place. One of the most common referrals that I get is my retired client wants me to talk to their son or daughter who's maybe in their 20s or 30s. And it's the advice they wouldn't listen to because mom refers me to the daughter. I meet with the daughter. I get her going down the right path. The next time I see the mother, it's always the same thing of, I've been telling her to set up a Roth and do life insurance. I've been telling her all the same stuff for years and she wouldn't listen to me. And then she has one meeting with you, Alex, and right away she does all these things. She wouldn't listen to mom. So to your point, maybe a book like this is just as much about the same lesson that they've gotten before, but it's hearing it from the right person at the right time where they're willing to take
right person, right time format, a story rather than preach. My personal fitness trainer, I had a session with him yesterday and I gave him an advanced copy of the book. And he says, all right, I need 3 more. I need to give them to my kids because they listen to me, but you're saying the things, but I think they'll pay attention to you. I call it the Uncle Bill phenomenon. When companies bring me in to talk about referrals and how you message your value and all the different business building tools I bring, they know that I'm going to be saying some of the same things that they've said and that their advisors know already, but they hear it from someone else. And it's just that dynamic. Who teaches the kid to ride the bike or to drive the car? It's not always the parent. It's the aunt, the uncle, the neighbor. Somebody else comes in with a different dynamic, right? So yeah, delivering the message from different directions in different ways often is the difference maker. And they don't have the same.
That's cool.
Yeah, very good.
I did read Bill Burg's book, The Go Givers, a while ago.
Bob Burg, the Go Givers. Yeah, Bob endorsed the book, and his co-author of that, John David Mann, also wrote the foreword, and they're hosting our launch party. We had a launch party on September 16th, and so they were behind that. So you quoted Bob Burg earlier, people can trust. That Bob initiated that little phrase many years ago.
That was from him. So I've read so many books now, not to brag about it, but like everything blends together. So I see Bob Burg. I know I read that. It's on my shelf at home. I can picture it. But which thing I stole from who, which I've stolen everything from everybody. I don't have any original ideas of my own, apparently, but that was Bob Burg. I
Yep.
know that.
Yep. There you go.
Very cool. Yeah, sounds good. I will definitely read it. I apologize for not reading ahead of our conversation, but
That's all right.
looking forward to checking that out. So, another question I had just bouncing around my head while you were discussing your book. You work with a ton of advisors. You probably have some advisors that you've known and worked with for decades at this point. How do you see advisors handling it when they're getting referrals and maybe they don't necessarily want the referrals because they have such a well-established business? They're not looking to take on new clients. There's a number of ways that could be handled, but I'm curious what you're seeing.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever met an advisor who isn't willing to take on a right fit client. Many advisors over time do become a lot more selective. Some start to feel at capacity. It's another issue. So the bottom line here is that, first of all, being very clear on who do you serve the best, who would you take on if they met certain demographic, psychographic qualities. And then you teach your client that you're never too busy to see if you can be a resource. Sometimes one of the best ways, especially if most of your clients fit your best fit client status, say, look, we've made a decision to be very careful who we bring on now because we want to make sure we have plenty of time and capacity to serve our current clients like you to the best of our ability. We're never too busy to see if we can be a resource for some, but it's important that the fit is right. So let me just give you an idea of some of the criteria we're looking for right now. I'm not, or people we serve the best. You may not know their specific situation, but sometimes you have a sense. If you have a sense that you think they should know us and there's some value there, yeah, we're happy to have that conversation. I just want to let you know we may or may not work with them. It just depends. It's got to be it's got to be right for them. And then it's got to be right for us. So that's one of the ways. There's a lot of ways to do that. It's important that all your clients know that to see part, to see if you can be of service, because what happens is if they don't know that, and many advisors listening have experienced this, the client expects you to work with their friend. And now they get a little upset or resentful that you didn't. So they need to know. Now, if it's close family members, that may be different. Tight family, household, that's a little different. But outside of that, you got to be careful. You got to create win-win situations. This also is where you could conceivably scale your business in different ways. I think every advisor should have relationships with other advisors, whether they're part of your practice or outside your practice, so that those people can get served. So there is someone jumping up and down, excited to work with that person that isn't right for you and you're not right for them. So it's just being clear and then being disciplined and clear with expectations with everybody to not create lose situations.
Sure. It's an interesting evolution in that I get referrals today that I would have killed for 10 years ago. And now I'm in a weird spot where, to your point, there is a capacity at some point in this business. I'm not there yet, but I will be soon. And my goal in any given year is to probably add like 10 to 15 good clients. I'm not trying to add, I think back to one of my first years in the business, I signed up, which sounds lame, but I brought on 150 new clients that year, but most of them were very, of course, smaller accounts. And so the way that your mind shifts, and now I'm at a point where I need to find introductions to the right people, not just introductions to people. And then I've also got to find a polite and ethical way to take the people that are not a good fit for me and introduce them to somebody else that can help them, because I still want to help people. It's not that I don't want to help them. I just don't have time to do it. So it's making that shift is hard. And I think it's something that advisors really struggle with after they get established in their career.
It's true. And I think it has to come from this place. And that is, if they are not right for your practice, the work you love to do, what you're trying to do, if they're not right for you, you're not right for them. And so what's in their best interest? What's in the best interest of the prospective client or client? And if working with you isn't in their best interest, then don't do that. That'll create a triple lose situation. The prospect loses because they're working with someone who really isn't excited about working with them. You lose. And then the referral source gets upset. So yeah, it's just being clear and disciplined and not being afraid to say no, but no with a yes to it. In other words, look, I am not the right person to be working with you. Our process is a little different, and you need to be working with a person that's right for you. And actually, I'd love to introduce you to colleague, associate, whatever. And so you're still getting that person help. That's great. It could be a call center with Fidelity or Schwab or Vanguard or something, but
Yeah.
they're getting help, but you don't have to be the one doing it. So really everyone wins when you
Yeah.
take that posture.
One thought I have, and I know we're getting to the end of our time here today, so I want to be
Sure.
respectful of that. But it seems like there's a trend of people tend to refer down. I'm sure you've heard this. You've probably written about this, but people tend to refer down. And the example I gave earlier of the retired client wants me to talk to their son or daughter. It's also the person who's been working in a place for 30 years wants me to talk to the new hire that's 22. I can already tell the way you're nodding your head. You have thoughts on this, but what's the way to get referred upstream and not be constantly referred downstream?
Yeah. So we've already covered the first line of defense. And you're right. Most people, I don't like to use the word down really, but certainly lower on the economic ladder. So the first line of defense is that education part, and to let people know who your processes are geared towards, give them some demographic, psychographic information, let them know you're not going to take on people that aren't a good match for them and you and all that. So that's the first line of defense. The next line of defense is how you bring it up and how you suggest it. For instance, I was coaching a team of about 7 advisors out of Connecticut, and they felt like they were asking for referrals, introductions, but it wasn't working for them. And so I taught them a better way to ask, and they started asking, but then they started getting referred to the children. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually an important part of the relationship, because really you want to make sure everybody's handling things properly and people are protected properly, et cetera. And I understand they wanted to get referred to people like the parents, not the children. So how you ask makes a difference. So you say, I was hoping we could put our heads together for a minute, see if we can identify a few folks like yourself. So all you got to just say is like yourself, right? It could be you've worked long and hard and for your money. Now you're helping your money work hard for you. You can use euphemisms of working long, saving well, own a business, whatever. You can use whatever to start to describe them, or start to use terms that relate to the kinds of people that are likely to fit your world. And then you'll be directing their attention there. See, the problem is when you just open it up to everybody, their attention goes where it goes, and it may not be in the best direction for everybody. So you direct them to the categories and specifics of the ask.
Walking them down a path to their ideal client. Perfect.
A little bit. Yep. A little bit. And they may know someone, they may not. Doesn't matter. Don't get too attached. And we know that sometimes asking now you don't get, but later that same person, when the time is right, they'll make a great introduction for you.
Cool. Love it. Before we go, you talked about your books. You
Yep.
can tell by your microphone there. You've got your own podcast as well. Do you want to tell the people about the Top Advisor podcast?
Yeah. I interview advisors for advisors mostly. I occasionally interview other coaches and experts in the industry. But it's topadvisorpodcast.com, topadvisorpodcast.com. I just recorded my 98th episode with Michael Kitsis. The book is thehiddenheist.com, and The Language of Referrals was the other book that you mentioned. And the one you held up but didn't say anything about, but I'll do it because I'm shameless, is Radical Relevance. And making sure that our message, how we talk about what we do, is relevant. So people will pay attention, because if it's not relevant, we'll be ignored, and then nobody likes to be ignored. So thank you for that.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this today. I think people will really find it helpful. And if you need somebody for episode 99, I know where you can go.
Yeah, we should talk for sure. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
You bet.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA and SIPC. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. Individual tax or legal matters should be discussed with your tax or legal professional. Bill Cates is not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial or Cultivate Financial Planning.